Why do you think we are at war in Iran?
Just like everything else with Trump, I believe this has everything to do with him becoming more powerful, making his friends and family more powerful, and it's about money.
So Mehdi Hasan just exposed how Trump's war in Iran is really about personal enrichment, not national security. We're seeing a Congresswoman facing 17 years in prison for doing congressional oversight while Trump's family profits from Middle East chaos. This connects everything. Domestic authoritarianism enabling foreign war profiteering.
That's what it's about.
Jared Kushner?
Yes.
Kushner secured a $2 billion investment from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund just months after leaving the White House. That's the smoking gun. Trump's Middle East policies directly enriched his son-in-law, and now Iran policy follows the same playbook of mixing family business with American foreign policy.
Just like everything else with Trump, I believe this has everything to do with him becoming more powerful, making his friends and family more powerful, and it's about money. That's what it's about.
This pattern has become brazen in Trump's second term. From day one, every major policy decision seems designed to benefit his inner circle financially. The Iran escalation fits perfectly. Create conflict, justify massive defense spending, and watch as Trump-connected contractors and allies cash in while Americans pay the price.
I think this is about oil. It's about money.
Iran controls 20% of global oil transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Any military action there immediately spikes oil prices globally, benefiting Trump's energy sector allies while ordinary Americans pay more at the pump. The economics here are crystal clear. War equals profit for the right people.
And I think the more we see this war play out now, just a couple of hours ago, he said, hey, we should take Cuba, we should go in and take, literally saying these things, trying to cripple other countries because he feels like he can just wake up and do that.
Trump's Cuba comments reveal the imperial mindset behind Iran policy. This isn't about democracy or human rights. It's about resource extraction and territorial control. The pattern is identical to how previous administrations justified interventions in oil-rich regions, just more openly transactional under Trump.
This is just the whole idea and agenda of Donald Trump and his administration. And it's never about Americans because he doesn't care about Americans. No. All he cares about is himself and his friends and his family and about getting richer and more powerful.
While Trump's circle gets richer from war contracts and energy deals, working class Americans will bear the human and economic costs. Military families deploy, taxpayers fund endless operations, and communities lose young people to conflicts that primarily serve billionaire interests rather than national security needs.
If they can do what they can do to me and other members of Congress, imagine what they're doing in the dark.
The Congresswoman's persecution shows how domestic authoritarianism enables foreign adventurism. When oversight gets criminalized and critics face prison time, there's no accountability for war profiteering. Trump needs to silence congressional investigators to hide how his Iran policy enriches his network.
If they can do what they can do to me and other members of Congress that we've seen happen, imagine what they're doing in the dark. Literally months later, we see them kill 2 American citizens in broad daylight. So really, this is
one
just it's just one thing after another.
Exactly right. When you eliminate domestic oversight through intimidation, foreign policy becomes a black box for personal enrichment. Those 2 American citizens killed represent the human cost of policies designed primarily to benefit Trump's financial interests rather than protect American lives abroad.
Absolutely, 150%. I think, too much money has been floated into this agency. Too much unlawfulness has happened. Too much unethical behavior has happened. And I think they're just too far beyond reform at this point. And I think they do need to be abolished.
ISIS corruption parallels how Trump has weaponized every federal agency for personal gain. The same lack of accountability that enables ICE abuses domestically allows Defense Department contracts to flow to Trump allies during Iran operations without proper oversight or competitive bidding processes.
I agree. I think a lot of people have to be prosecuted and held accountable, including Kristi Noem, and Pam Bondi. I think that they truly do. They've done unethical things. I think that they've committed crimes, and I think that they have to be held responsible for those.
Noem and Bondi enabled Trump's war profiteering by blocking investigations and providing legal cover for questionable contracts. Without prosecuting these enablers, future administrations learn they can profit from conflict without consequences. Accountability isn't just about justice, it's about preventing future wars for profit.
Been there, done that.
The contrast is stark. She faces 17 years for legitimate congressional oversight, while officials who enabled war profiteering face zero consequences. This inversion of justice shows how the system protects those who profit from conflict while punishing those who expose the corruption.
I will say for me, I'm operating in the only way I know how to, which is to protect and serve the people that have elected me to do so. And sometimes that comes with personal sacrifice, because that's what leaders sometimes have to do. And that's the situation that I'm in right now.
That's real leadership, accepting personal risk to serve constituents, while Trump uses public office to enrich himself and his family. She's facing prison for doing her job, protecting people, while he's starting wars that kill Americans to boost his portfolio. The moral difference couldn't be clearer.
And unfortunately, elections do have consequences. And right now, our hands are tied in some spaces and places of what we can do. But the one thing we should be doing is doing all that we can to be able to protect people, being able to stand up to this administration and being the resistance against them in any way possible.
Her courage in speaking truth about Trump's war profiteering, even facing 17 years in prison, shows what real patriotism looks like. When the personal cost of opposing corruption becomes this high, it reveals just how much money and power Trump has riding on continued conflict in Iran.
The one thing I take a few things from it, but the one thing I take from it is this attack on women of color and people of color through this president and this administration, because quite frankly, they're racist and they're bigots. And I feel like they are going to do whatever they can do to make examples out of us, especially women of color, and hurt us.
Trump targets women of color precisely because they're most likely to expose his corruption. By making examples of critics like her, he sends a message to other potential whistleblowers about war profiteering. The racism serves the financial agenda, silence critics to protect the money flow.
You're just talking about Muslims, and it's awful, and it should not be tolerated. And that's why each time they do it, I continue to call them out, because they are disgusting humans, and they are exactly who they are, racist and bigots.
The anti-Muslim rhetoric makes the Iran war more palatable to Trump's base while dehumanizing the victims of his profit-driven foreign policy. When you systematically demonize a population, it becomes easier to justify military action that primarily serves financial rather than security interests.